Hello, this is Miami CO, Indiana, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Edenpure. Is it any better than any other space heater, or is it just a bunch of hot air? Well, first of all, I want to tell you that I have used the Edenpure heater as well as many other space heaters in my life. In fact, I've used over 10 space heaters, from the old radiant style space heaters to baseboard style space heaters like this one, fan style personal space heaters like this one, and over in the corner there you'll see an oil-filled radiator space heater. I have used ceramic cube space heaters, ceramic tower space heaters, so I've used a lot of heaters in my day. So anyway, when I saw the claims of the Edenpure, I wanted to know how this heater could outperform any other heater on the market, since it uses the same amount of watts, which is 1500 on maximum heating setting, which this one uses, and that one uses, and most of the others also I've had in my life also rated at 1500 watts. Because I always had the theory, as I've seen it so many times, and I expect to see it on this video, a 1500 watt heater produces X amount of heat, which means a $20 1500 watt space heater will give you the same results as a $200 1500 watt space heater, because so much wattage in equals so much heat out. And I had that same belief. But anyhow, I thought I'd give it a try. I bought this 2 years ago. This has helped heat my home, or has actually heated my home for the last 2 winter seasons. So this will be the 3rd year that I'm using the space heater. It is made by Edenpure. It is a Generation 3, I believe, is the model name of this heater. I do want to also emphasize that I'm not trying to sell you any heaters, and I don't sell heaters, so that is not the purpose of this video whatsoever. I do want to also emphasize, any space heater you use, please look over the directions and please use common sense. Since space heaters cause a lot of fires and deaths and injuries, you want to make sure you're using any space heater correctly, properly, and safely. So with that being said, does the Edenpure work better than other space heaters? I have found the answer to that question is absolutely yes. For some reason, this heater can heat my entire house, and any other heater I've tried can heat medium-sized rooms fine, can help supplement heat, but cannot heat the entire house. In fact, I tried to heat my house with 2 of the oil-style, oil-filled radiator heaters set at 1500 watts each, which is 3000 watts of power, which is expensive to run, that could still not heat the entire house. Where this one 1500 watt heater could actually keep me comfortable even in the middle of winter and heat the entire home. I do want to emphasize too that my home is very small, only 850 square feet. It is also very well insulated. It's an old home, has very thick walls which have all been blown in with insulation, so the wall cavities have been filled with insulation. The attic has sufficient insulation, and all the windows are new and Energy Star rated. So anyhow, as you're going to have variances if you don't have good insulation or larger areas, it's going to be totally different than my situation. So don't expect it to be exactly the same. But anyway, I just want to go over with you what I do believe is why this heater is able to heat large areas where other heaters cannot. This video kind of comes from a video I saw on YouTube where someone did a Edenpure test with a small little ceramic style cube heater, which I've owned also before, and said they didn't see any different results. I thought that was pretty strange, since I've owned the same type of heater he was showing, and I've also owned the Edenpure. So I watched the video a few more times and came to this conclusion after watching it a few more times. Number one, he wasn't a owner of the Edenpure, he was just borrowing it from a neighbor for a test, so it didn't really have any long-term application of it being used in his home. And number two, he stated that it heated the room just as well. Well, I'm going to tell you folks, if you're looking to heat one room, buy a cheap space heater, because any space heater I've ever used can easily heat one room. This one, though, can heat one room, but it also can heat large areas as well. So that is the difference. Number two, the test he did, and I'm really not trying to knock down anyone on YouTube. That's not my intention. I do believe he was sincere. But he stated that he put a thermometer a few feet in front of each heater and saw the temperature on the thermometer rose about just as fast. Well, here again, I could take a thermometer and put it in front of this toaster, and I definitely assure you that the temperature on the thermometer will rise pretty quickly. But the question is, will a toaster heat your house? And by the way, this toaster uses about 1,100 watts. Not as high as these, but it still uses quite a bit of wattage. The answer would be no, this toaster could not heat my house, but it definitely could raise the thermometer temperature very quickly if I held a thermometer a few feet over the top of it where the heat comes out. But I want to explain to you why I believe this heater can outperform most other heaters on the market. And don't even be confused with the brand name. There are many brands now of infrared quartz heaters. So I'm really not endorsing any brand. This is the one I happen to own. It's the only one I've ever had the application to use in my own home is the Edenpure, so that's what I'm going to go by. But anyhow, I want to first explain with the Edenpure how it works is air comes in the back of the heater. I'm going to turn it around here. I have had this heater open because I've oiled the fan and cleaned it out since I've had it a few years. It comes through the bottom and it goes through and up and around these channels through 3 different heat exchangers and then exits out. So one thing this has an advantage over most space heaters is long contact time with the air and the heat source. With this type of heater and most heaters, the heating element's no more than a 1/4 inch thick. The coil in here is about a 1/4 inch thick. Since that's where all the heat's generated, it gets blistering hot. It turns red, in fact, if you put it on the 1500 watt setting. But a 1/4 inch is all the opportunity air has as it passes through to pick up the heat before it exits out. This one goes through a long chamber, so it's just not this distance. It's actually weaving through a long chamber of 3 different heating elements, which gives it a long contact time with the heat source before the heat is ejected into the room. So that's one theory I have why this one works a lot better. But I think the main reason is something called CFM. That is cubic feet per minute is a measurement heating and cooling specialists use. It just basically is a scientific name for how much volume of air is moving through the unit. How many cubic feet of air each minute goes through the unit. While doing some research, I found that this has a CFM rating of about 110. These type of heaters, the little ceramic type fan heaters, and most regular fan force space heaters have about 25 or 30 CFMs, which is significantly lower. Why that makes a difference? If you throw air and move more air through, you're moving it out at a faster pace, so it's going to be obviously able to travel longer distances across your area. This one will just sputter heat out a few feet, and a lot of the heat will go up, while this one will forcefully put it out into your living space, hit walls and go different directions, and you actually do get the mixing action that you need for a more uniform heat. Wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling is the advertisement for these units, and I will tell you that the heat is much more uniform than with regular space heaters. The heat doesn't seem to pool up at the ceiling near as much. But I'll give you an example on that. Let's say you have a central electric furnace, which is fan forced. The thermostat comes on, says it needs to heat. It turns the heating elements on. A few seconds later, the fan blower will come on and blow the air forcefully through the ductwork of the heating system and through the registers out into your home at a pretty forceful CFM. A lot more than even this unit would have, obviously. Well, let's say we're using that same central electric heating system, but we make one change. Instead of using the blower fan that came with it, we're going to put a fan in about this size. So everything's going to remain the same. We're going to be using the same amount of electricity to heat the coils. We're going to have the same BTU output of heat. The only thing we're going to change is from a high CFM to a very low CFM, and I guarantee you the results would be night and day difference. You have to have CFM if you're going to heat large areas. If you're going to heat a small area or one room, you don't need a lot of CFM. The heat will pool up into the ceiling and start dropping back down because the room is so small. So these units will all work, that one also, in small to medium sized rooms or to supplement heating systems, like if you have a chilly room. This one can actually heat large areas, or even in my case, whole house applications. So I hope that gives you some insight. I'm going to leave you with one last thing on technology. Some people don't think technology ever changes, but I'm going to just give you an example here. This is a 60-watt incandescent light bulb. Puts out X amount of looms of light. This is a CFL light bulb that puts out approximately the same looms of light as this light bulb. This one uses 60 watts and this one uses 15 watts, or 75% less energy use for about the same amount of light. Lighting has nothing to do with heating, so I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just using this as an example. Sometimes technology changes. 20 years ago, if someone said, I can show you how to replace lights in your lamp that will save you 75% off of your energy use, you would think they were nuts. But we know it's true now. So technology does change. You got to kind of have an open mind when you think about things, and don't be stuck on all electric space heaters are 100% efficient and all do the exact same job. Because I'm telling you, if you think that, I hate to say that you really are wrong, because they don't all heat the same. This is Miami CO, Indiana. I want to thank you for joining me as we take a look at the Edenpure. I also want to tell you I'm going to do some tests when it does get colder outside, so I can give you some actual tests how different heaters work. I want to thank you for joining me again. This is Miami CO, Indiana, hoping you have a great day.